For more, we're joined by Fawaz Gerges. He's professor of international relations at the London School of Economics and Political Science. So Fawaz, as someone who follows the events closely in the Middle East and Russia, I wanted to get your thoughts about this unconfirmed report. And again, it is unconfirmed that an ISIS-affiliated group is claiming responsibility for downing the plane.
Well, first of all, I'm not surprised that an ISIS affiliate in Sinai has taken responsibility. You have a major ISIS base in the north of Sinai. You have hundreds, if not thousands, of ISIS combatants who basically subscribe to the ideology, and they have merged with the ISIS of Iraq and Syria. It's in their own interest to say that we have the means and the reach to basically harm Russia. Remember, you have all-out war now between Russia on the one hand and Al-Qaeda. It's not just ISIS. You have Al-Nusra Front, the official arm of Al-Qaeda. Radical Islamists have declared all-out war against Russia because they believe that Russia now has intervened in Syria, not only against ISIS, but against the other radical Islamist forces. So it's in the interest of the ISIS affiliate in Sinai to take responsibility. This does not mean that they had the ability and the means to down the plane, point one. Point two, already Al-Qaeda fighters in Syria and Iraq have made it very clear they're going to do their best to harm Russia and its citizens. So even though we don't have the evidence, even though we have to be cautious, even though we don't have to buy what ISIS, the ISIS affiliate in Sinai has said, this is not a far-fetched possibility because you have, both sides are trying to harm each other, and there's all-out war between Russia on the one hand and ISIS and its sister Al-Qaeda affiliates worldwide.
Now, meanwhile, Russia's transport minister says that terrorism reports can't be, I'm quoting, can't be considered accurate. What do you make of that?
Well, absolutely. If I were a Russian official, I would dismiss what ISIS says about this particular point.
Why?
We have to wait and see. We have to wait and see what the investigation says. There is a black box. The jury is still out. We need not rush and buy what the ISIS affiliate in Egypt has said. But the reality is, sadly and tragically, I would not be shocked if the plane had been downed by the ISIS affiliate. They have the means, they have the capabilities, and more importantly, they have the will to really basically try to do damage and harm to Russian interests and Russian citizens, not just in the Middle East, worldwide now.
Fawaz, I just wanted to follow up with that, though. Why would a Russian transport minister say, we can't consider this claim to be accurate? What would be the motivation for that person to say, we can't consider these claims to be accurate?
Well, for a variety of reasons, because, this is a big story. They do not really want, basically, to dismiss any particular consideration. So I think the Russian minister is trying to minimize, basically, various possibilities and various scenarios. But I can tell you, even though I'm not in the decision-making, all possibilities are on the table now. The fact is that the Russian and their allies are basically carrying out a full-fledged investigation, including the fuel, including the food, including everything. So even though, regardless of the public statements by Russian officials, all possibilities are on the table. And I think a criminal investigation has been launched by the authorities, both in Egypt and Russia. The big point to highlight now is that this particular tragic, catastrophic development has occurred in the thick of all-out war that's taken place between Russia and the ISIS fighters and combatants in Syria. And that's why the heightened security, and that's why the speculation, and that's why the Sinai affiliate of ISIS has come out, because they want to take responsibility. But we have to, regardless of what the Russian minister has said, we have to be cautious. We have to wait for the investigation. There is the black box. We should not play into the hands of ISIS, the ISIS affiliate, and take it very credibly, even though the Russian minister believes otherwise.
just getting into thinking about ISIS claiming responsibility, how much of and you've laid it out very clearly about why they would want to claim responsibility for downing this plane. Would this be seen as those who support ISIS as a real coup, as a real win, in terms of the propaganda?
A game changer. I mean, if ISIS had indeed downed the plane, or if a criminal investigation establishes any credibility, this really would be catastrophic for the anti-ISIS camp. Not just the Russians, but even the Americans. ISIS would this would reinforce the narrative of invincibility that ISIS has been trying to, project. This would basically resonate deeply among some of the deluded young men and women who are joining ISIS. This would show these young men that ISIS can deliver. It can deliver not just in Iraq and Syria and Libya, but even in Egypt, the most, populous Arab state, against a Russian target, an airplane. Truly, if a criminal investigation basically gets to be credible, this would be catastrophic for the anti-ISIS camp, and the Americans would be as devastated as the Russians, I would argue, because it's all about the narrative of invincibility. It's about the fact that ISIS is winning. It's about the fact that ISIS has the means to harm its enemies. It's standing up. Despite everything that the Americans and the Canadians and the British and the French and the Russians have thrown at ISIS, it's still coming back. This is the kind of propaganda message that ISIS is going to play to its base, in particular to the youth, because it's a youth movement. It resonates not just with Middle Easterners, but even with some deluded young Westerners all over Europe.
Fawaz, you're painting a potentially very dangerous picture, a picture that could sound very concerning to a lot of people. How concerned should we be about what's happening?
Well, we should be concerned, but again, a note of caution. We should not jump into any conclusions. We should not even give the ISIS affiliate in Sinai any credibility. We should wait to see what the investigation says and establishes. It's essential, because if we even speculate about the fact that ISIS really could down such a plane, we are playing into its hands. That's exactly what ISIS, the various affiliates and like-minded factions would like us to do. They're trying to terrorize world public opinion. They're trying to basically also inspire young recruits. So it's all about propaganda. It's all about basically making a point, a big point. I really do hope, tragic as it is, catastrophic as it is, I hope it was a mechanical failure. This is the best case scenario that comes out of this particular tragedy, because even if a criminal investigation, regardless of whether ISIS had downed the plane or not, if it's a criminal situation, this would basically play into the ISIS narrative of invincibility.
Fawaz, thank you very much. That's Fawaz Gerges, a professor of international relations at the London School of Economics and Political Science.